Hey, what's good, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson, BamaInsider.com, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Wow, the recruiting has really been fantastic for the Crimson Tide over the last couple of days. You need to go to BamaInsider.com and read the nuggets that Andrew Bone has been dropping. Big time scoop every single day. There's a 5-star running back that is coming to Alabama for an official visit. There's a 5-star tight end, 5-star Justin Rogers, who's a Kentucky commit, is on Flip Watch. All that information right now at BamaInsider.com. All right, so recently on BamaInsider.com released a new feature. You can call, leave a voicemail, and get your question answered on the show. So remember, you can call anytime, 205-686-3604. Leave a recruiting question for Andrew Bone. Leave a team question for me or our team writer, Tony Tsoukalis, where we'll bring him on as we move forward. Anything you want to talk about, it's your show. Remember, anything Alabama Crimson Tide football related, we got you covered right here at BamaInsider.com. Today's show will be focused on answering the first questions that have come in to our voicemail center right here at BamaInsider.com. Away we go. First question is from Daniel from Athens, Alabama.
Hey, this is Daniel calling from Athens, Alabama. My question is, how good do you think our defense will be this year?
How good will the defense be this year? That's Daniel calling from Athens, Alabama. I appreciate the call, Daniel. I think when you look at Alabama's defense, and any defense, it always starts up front, right? I mean, that's what everybody has to say. And I think in this particular case, you have Raekwon Davis coming back for a senior season, and we've referred to this year again and again as the money year for Raekwon Davis. 6'7", 315 pounds. I think if everything works out well for Raekwon Davis this year, he's no doubt, no question, a top 10 first-round pick in the NFL draft next season. Right behind him, you have a guy like Christian Barmore that can add some depth. And I know a lot of you are excited about Antonio Alfano, so he'll fall into that second or third tier after Raekwon Davis at the defensive end position. Now, at the other defensive end position, you have LeBron Ray, who I think will be an absolute phenom this coming season. I think over the last couple of years, we've seen splashes of his talent, but I think this year, he's going to really let loose. So I think when you think breakout players for the Crimson Tide, especially on defense, you got to go with a guy like LeBron Ray. A defensive tackle. I mean, you lose Deron Payne. Quinnen Williams steps in, and you don't even remember Deron Payne. He had that incredible of a season last year. Now, can DJ Dell hold the rope at defensive tackle as a true freshman? Possibly. Nick Saban really likes what he sees in DJ Dell. Also competing for that defensive tackle position is Phidarian Mathis, who has also shown a lot of progress. Now, I think we're going to see a lot of improvement overall from this defensive line unit is the fact that Brian Baker, the former defensive line coach at Mississippi State, is now working with these guys for Alabama. Brian Baker, I've said it many times on the show, is one of the best in the business at getting defensive linemen to rise up. Look at his resume when you get a chance. He is very knowledgeable. He's coached some of the best players that are currently playing in the NFL. So I think when you look at the nucleus up front, Alabama's defensive line should definitely be improved. And I think that'll help the defense make a step up even from last season, which is hard to believe. Now, I think when you look at Alabama's defense, I think the question mark is around the interior linebacker play, right? We all know that Terrell Lewis is coming back, and hopefully he can be healthy. Behind him, you have Christopher Allen. Both of those guys, we need to see them stay healthy. They both suffered ACL injuries during the 2018 season. At the other outside linebacker position, you have Anthony Jennings and Iyabi Anoma, two guys that should be impactful players this year. But the interior linebacker players, the Mike and the Will position, those are where the question marks lie for this year's defense. Dylan Moses, leading tackler, returns. I don't think there's any question marks around him. But on the other side, is it going to be Joshua McMillan? Is it going to be Markel Benton? Is it going to be freshman Shane Lee? That's kind of where I think the question marks lay for this defensive unit. Now, if they can find a good rhythm, a good balance, and some of these guys can really rise up for Alabama's defense at the linebacker position, inside linebackers, I think Alabama will be completely set for the 2019 season. But it might take a little bit for the defense to really find that interior unit. But you got Pete Golding, who's a defensive coordinator who also works with the inside linebacker. So I don't think you will see it take too long for Golding to really find what is working with the interior defensive lineman. Again, thanks for the call, Daniel from Athens. All right, this is Harris from New Orleans.
Hi, this is Harris from New Orleans. I was calling to get an offensive line recruiting update. And then secondly, who do you guys see Alabama pulling from the state of Louisiana for the upcoming recruiting year? Thanks.
Harris, thanks for the call regarding the offensive line and who Alabama could pull from the state of Louisiana. Now, Andrew Bone, you can catch all his recruiting stuff on BamaInsider.com. But from an outside perspective, here's a skinny. Seth McLaughlin has committed to Alabama. He's out of Georgia, 6'4", 275 pounds. He's a 3-star currently. And then you had Damian George recently commit. Big kid, 6'7", 345 pounds. Same school as 5-star running back Zachary Evans. So maybe Nick Saban's playing some chess. He's always playing chess, not checkers, as we like to say. So, you're going to woo in Damian George and, hopefully you can get that 5-star running back. Maybe that could be a package deal. I know Alabama isn't concerned about a package deal, but come on. I mean, who wouldn't want to get Zachary Evans? Have you seen his highlights? They're incredible. But what is also incredible is the size of Damian George, 6'7", 345 pounds. Currently on Alabama's roster, I mean, one of the only players that would be bigger than him would be Evan Neal, who's a 5-star, was just a monster, 6'7", 360 pounds, who looks like he's going to play this season. In terms of who Alabama could get from the state of Louisiana, well, that could be happening very soon with Joe Williams, who was committed to Florida, and he recently backed off his commitment. It looks like he's now on flip watch. He's a 6'1", 190-pound, 4-star defensive back that it looks like Alabama has a good shot to flip. So when we look at players that Alabama could pull from the state of Louisiana, and Nick Saban always does it every single year, it could be Joe Williams. So let's continue to watch what happens with Williams over the next couple of weeks. Alabama has that big recruiting barbecue. But again, for more recruiting scoop, go to BamaInsider.com. Look for the Alabama recruiting board taken care of by Andrew Bone. He's on fire, killing it with recruiting nuggets. But thanks for the call, Harris from New Orleans. All right, next on the show, we got Michael from Georgia calling in.
What's up, Bama Insider fans? This is Michael giving you a God's call from Millersville, Georgia. Long-time Bama fan. Essentially, I want to talk about the secondary. I know we got pretty beat up against Clemson. We took a major hit with Trayvon Diggs going out. So I kind of want to talk about the secondary, how we plan on looking this year. And hopefully we can step up and go back to that no cover zone. So how are we going to look this year?
All right, thanks for the call, Michael. Now, when you look at Alabama's secondary, and we didn't talk about the secondary earlier when Daniel talked about the defense, and he was calling in from Athens, but I appreciate the call from Georgia. When you look at Alabama's secondary, I think you have to really like what's going on. You have the cornerback should be Trayvon Diggs, who was injured last season, but he returns. He looks to be healthy. He looks to have a chip on his shoulders, a very good defensive back, and I think he's another guy who could have a really big breakout season. I know it's his senior year, but I think he's one guy that still wants to prove himself. At the other corner position, you have Patrick Surtain, who was an absolute ball hawk, and he just did a fantastic job in the secondary as a freshman last year. I mean, he started following that Ole Miss game and really looked like a sophomore, right? I mean, last year. So I can only imagine what he's going to do. He's cut from an NFL cloth. His father played in the league. So I think Surtain just certainly has what it takes to hold it down at the corner position. Now, behind those guys, Trayvon Diggs and Patrick Surtain, you got a guy like Jalen Armour-Davis, who was injured last season with the ACL, so I think he'll be eager to get on the field. You also have Josh Jobe, who played some pretty good amount of time last year as a true freshman. I really like Josh Jobe. He came in against Clemson. He played later on in the season, and I think he's someone who's going to be very dependable. At the star position, you have Shaheem Carter, 2 interceptions, 4 touchdowns last year. Just a very knowledgeable player. I've said it before. I feel like Shaheem Carter doesn't get enough love when you talk about the secondary, but he's a senior, and it seems like he doesn't have to say a lot, but he makes plays happen on the field. At the safety position, you're going to lose Deontay Thompson, but you're going to return Jared Maiden, who should be one of the biggest hitters on the team. I think he has an opportunity to really rise up and make a name for himself this season. And then on the other side, you have Xavier McKinney, who should be a ball hawk in the secondary and also a leader in the secondary. I think when you look at guys who could be alpha males or lead by example, Xavier McKinney, along with Jerry Maiden, are guys of that mold. I think a lot of people forget that Xavier McKinney was the defensive MVP of the Orange Bowl last season. So I think these guys have enough talent in the secondary to be an improvement from last season. And what I also like is you have Carl Scott, who's doing a great job with these guys and also doing a great job recruiting. And then Nick Saban also added Charles Kelly to the secondary staff, working with the safety. So Carl Scott and Charles Kelly working hand to hand, along with Nick Saban, who considers himself a grad assistant working with the secondary. You got to like that defensive secondary room. A lot of coaches, a lot of knowledgeable minds working with some very good talent. Appreciate the call, Michael from Georgia. Next on the show, we got Sean from Huntsville, Alabama.
Hey, fellas. My name is Sean. I'm calling from Huntsville, Alabama. Had a quick question about an individual on the football team, number 12, Chadarius Townsend. Got a vested interest in Chadarius. I used to coach him in youth league in Athens. Wanted to ask you guys, have you heard anything about his playing time? I know the last practice I was down there watching, Chadarius seemed like he could be that shifty back, that change-up back, not a big thumper like Brian and Najee, but definitely one of your faster backs. Chadarius is a great athlete, one of the most athletic guys on the team. Wanted to know if you guys heard anything about his playing time and how they were going to use him. All right, you guys have a great day. Sean from Huntsville. Take care.
Very good call in. And I think when you look at Alabama's backfield, there's two guys who are certainly your workhorses. Najee Harris, Brian Robinson, big imposing backs that can carry the load. If Nick Saban needed these guys to carry the ball 20, 25 times a game, which won't happen because there's so much talent on the offense. Those two guys could do it. Then you have Jerome Ford, who had a big spring, very impactful. He looks like a complete back, kind of on the smaller side, but I think he's a complete back, someone who can catch the football out of the backfield, make plays. You have Chadarius Townsend, who Alabama has rotated around positional-wise. And so he was a defensive back, he was a wide receiver, and this spring moved him to running backs. I like that move with Chadarius Townsend because every single year you need a different element in the backfield, somebody who can catch the football out of the backfield, turn it up, be one of those players that can just make plays. But you also have to look at the new additions coming in from the freshman class. Trey Sanders, who we talked about just a couple days ago right here on the show, and Killian Robinson. Now, I think Trey Sanders, it's going to be number 3 for in the running back room is either going to be Trey Sanders, Jerome Ford, Chadarius Townsend. And it's simply going to come down to talent. Who is that running back that can really rise up and make plays on the field and add that different element? Najee is going to get his. Brian Robinson's going to get his. Who wants it more? And who's more talented? That's what the best have to play. Now, is it going to be Trey Sanders, Jerome Ford, or Chadarius Townsend? I have to say, Jerome Ford looked good this spring. Nobody really talking about him. Chadarius Townsend did as well. I think he has some game-breaking ability. He has good speed. He can catch the football. So if Trey Sanders can't come in and add that other element, maybe it's going to be Jerome Ford or Chadarius Townsend. But I think Chadarius Townsend has an opportunity to get on the field this year. It's going to be tough because the running back room is pretty crowded, as it always is at Alabama. So let's keep watch on Trey Sanders, Jerome Ford, and Chadarius Townsend as we go into August. Good call. I appreciate it. Sean from Huntsville. Please call in again. Moving on, we got Caleb from Memphis, Tennessee.
What's going on, Alabama football? This is Caleb Davis from Memphis, Tennessee. And I had a question about the defensive side of the ball today, actually. We're kind of missing the void from the pass rush. I kind of reminisce of the 2016 defense with Tim Williams, such a dominant edge rusher. So my question for you guys is, do you see maybe Iabi Anoma contributing, possibly Antonio Alfano? I know DJ Dale is also making waves. I've heard rumors. So my question is, who do you guys think is going to step up and be that predominant pass rusher and is going to give our defense the edge that it needs? Thanks, guys.
I appreciate the call, Caleb. That's an interesting question. I think when you look at the edge rushers that Alabama has, let's start with Terrell Lewis. If Terrell Lewis stays 100% healthy, I mean, what's the ceiling on a player like that? I mean, could Alabama theoretically have the best edge rusher in college football that we just really haven't seen play? I mean, Terrell Lewis, from an athletic standpoint, when you look at him, I mean, he is physically just incredible. I mean, 6'5", 255 pounds, not an ounce of fat on him, tons of athleticism. So I think if he stays healthy, he's going to be your dominant edge rusher and really wreak havoc on college football. You could look at a guy like Iyabi. I know a lot of Alabama Crimson Tide fans are excited to see what he can bring, and I think he's got the athleticism as well to really shine this year. 6'5", 252 pounds as just a sophomore. And both of these guys, similar molds, similar athleticism. So those guys from an athletic standpoint could certainly be your edge rushers that get to the quarterback. When we look at the defensive line, I already spoke about it early in the show. LeBron Ray could be a guy that just gets after the quarterback. I don't know if DJ Dell or Ferdinand Mathis or even Ismail Sopshire has that ability to chase the quarterback down quite yet. So let's hold those comments on the defensive tackle till we've seen these guys in action. Raekwon Davis, you got to think a guy like him could get after the quarterback, but then again, he only had 1 sack last year. So we need to see more improvement from Raekwon Davis getting to the quarterback. Now, he did grade out well in Pro Football Focus, so it's not like he had a terrible season. He just didn't get to the quarterback. But I think when you look at edge rushers and who's going to get at the quarterback, no doubt about it, it's got to be Terrell Lewis. It's got to be Iyabi. It could be Anthony Jennings. I think the thing with Anthony Jennings is he's a great tackler, very knowledgeable, but sometimes he plays a little too heavy in my opinion. Sometimes he floats around 265 pounds, and I don't know if he has the agility or that burst to get after the quarterback. Now, he's a great tackler, not the best in open space, but I don't think he has those same elements that a healthy Terrell Lewis or a Iyabi has when on the field. Hey, so how'd you guys think the show went? Did you guys like the format, the call-ins, me answering your guys' questions? I loved it. So let's continue. So please call in 205-686-3604. Simply let us know what you want to talk about. Leave your questions. If it's recruiting, if it's team-wise, hey, it doesn't matter. Let's talk Alabama football as much as possible. We got a long summer left before Alabama and Duke get it going. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to call in and leave your voicemails for us to answer right here on the show. Hey, you know where I'm coming to you from? Beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. If you want to get behind the premium paywall and catch up with me, the staff, Andrew Bone, Tony Zukalis every single day, simply go to BamaInsider.com. Look for that free 30-day promo. At checkout, it's simply Roll Tide. If you're a college student, hey, we've all been there before. I say it again and again. Hit me up, Kyle at BamaInsider.com. I got a special college promotion running just for you. Be good people out there. I will catch up with you guys soon right here on BamaInsider.com. Be sure and follow that recruiting board. Andrew Bone is bringing it. Tons of recruiting coverage, nuggets all the time at BamaInsider.com. Simply look for the Alabama recruiting board led by the best in the business, Andrew Bone. Until next time, my friends, I'll catch up soon.